king's kid. Yes, I'm a king's kid. My father is the king over everything. So I will sing this song, 'cause I know that I belong to the king of the universe. I'm a king's kid. Yes, I'm a king's kid. My father is the king over everything. So I will sing this song, 'cause I know that I belong to the king of the universe.
G'day there, King's Kids. I'm Arnie from Arnie's Shack. When someone does something wrong to you, it can be very hard to forgive. Our story today is about Joseph and his brothers, and how, with God in his heart, Joseph was able to forgive them. This story comes from Genesis chapter 42. Anyway, let's get on with it.
I'm a king's kid. Yes, I'm a king's kid. My father is the king over everything. So I will sing this song, 'cause I know that I belong to the king of the universe. I'm a king's kid. Yes, I'm a king's kid. My father is the king over everything. So I will sing this song, 'cause I know that I belong to the king of the universe. He gives me peace that passeth all understanding, the joy that overflows. Isn't it just totally amazing, the love that my Father shows? I'm a king's kid. Yes, I'm a king's kid. My Father is the king over everything. So I will sing this song, 'cause I know that I belong to the king of the universe. I'm a king's kid. Yes, I'm a king's kid. My Father is the king over everything. So I will sing this song, 'cause I know that I belong to the king of the universe. So I will sing this song, 'cause I know that I belong to the king of the universe. So I will sing this song, 'cause I know that I belong to the king of the universe.
Hiya, King's Kids. My name is Olivia. I love to travel and investigate the world, learning and experiencing all about the land, the people, and how they interact. This is called geography. Did you know that studying the geography of the Bible can help us understand the stories and how amazing they are? Today, we are exploring the human geography of famine. This means we are not looking at the mountains and rivers, countries or plains. Instead, we are looking at the climate and weather and how they affect people's lives. Let's start by exploring the meaning of the word famine. A famine is what happens when there is not enough food to feed most of the people in a country or region over a long period of time. When there is a shortage or scarcity of food, we say people are starving. Sometimes you might think that you are starving if dinner is late, but famine is when you only have a small handful of rice to eat each day. That's it, just one tiny plain meal a day. What causes famine? Famine occurs when there is not enough rain for plants to grow. When there are no crops, people go hungry. Sometimes there are too many people in one place and not enough food. In Bible times, armies were known to cause local famines in order to capture a city. They would surround a city and wait for the people inside to run out of food and surrender. In the case of the famine in Egypt and surrounding areas, it was the lack of rain and growing food that saw the people struggling. If a famine is very bad or lasts for a very long time, some people may even die. famines are not good. Keep listening to find out how God used Joseph to help many people, including his own family, through this famine. Until next time, King's Kids, keep learning, questioning, and exploring our amazing world.
G'day there, King's Kids. Ranger Hardy back again to explore this amazing world God has given us and the responsibility we have to care for it. Today, we are talking about something that is not so great. Something that happened to the land in Bible times and that still happens to the environment today. Drought. Drought is a continuous or ongoing period of dry weather where an area gets less than its normal amount of rain. This can be caused through natural weather events and global warming, but can also be triggered by people not respecting or caring for God's creation, cutting down trees in forests and not replanting more, changing the flow of rivers or draining lakes to build on. Droughts can last for months and even years and can be devastating. It is often hard to know exactly when a drought started because it takes place slowly and its effects build up over time. Because plants and food crops need water to grow, and land animals and humans need water to live, droughts can be dangerous. This is why we see Joseph's family travelling to Egypt in search of food. Exactly what happens today when there is a drought. Plants and animals and humans die if they cannot successfully move to find water and food. Without the roots of plants, there is nothing to hold the soil together, and areas in drought can become deserts. The rich topsoil, good for growing plants, can be blown away in the winds and large cracks can begin to form. Even when rain and water returns to the land, the damage from droughts can last for a long time. But just like God can help us to forgive and heal when others have mistreated us, the land will slowly and eventually heal and forgive too. Sensational! King's Kids, we need to make sure that we do everything we can to protect God's creation because God made it to protect us. Now that is sensational!
Hello boys and girls, it's Granny Grace here again with another story from God's special book, the Bible. Do you remember Joseph? The boy with 10 big brothers, 10 mean big brothers who sold him as a slave. Joseph did become a slave in Egypt, and then, even worse, he became a prisoner. But then he became governor of Egypt, and only the king, Pharaoh, was more powerful. All those years, Joseph was faithful to God. All those years, his brothers felt guilty because they knew what they had done was wrong. They had sold Joseph and they had lied to their father about him. Now Father Jacob was asking them to go to Egypt and buy grain because famine had come to their country. I wonder what they thought as they made the long journey to Egypt. Did they think about what they had done to Joseph? Did they wonder if he was still alive? Joseph was still alive and now he was a powerful governor. Imagine his surprise when he saw his brothers again. His brothers didn't recognize Joseph. He dressed like an Egyptian, he looked like an Egyptian, and he spoke like an Egyptian. Joseph wanted to see if his brothers had changed, so he put them in prison for 3 days. Then he left Simeon there and sent the others back home to get their younger brother. On their way home, the brothers found all their money in their sacks. They didn't know what to do with it, so they took it home with them. Finally, they ran out of food again. "Go back to Egypt and buy more food," said Father Jacob. "We will have to take Benjamin with us," said his sons. Finally, they set off on the long journey. In Egypt, Joseph invited them to a meal at his house. He sat them in order of birth and gave Benjamin more food than anyone else at the table. The brothers were glad when they were allowed to leave and set off home to Canaan. They hadn't gone far when they heard horses galloping up behind them. It was Joseph's chief servant. "Why did you take my master's silver cup?" he asked. The brothers looked at each other. They all shook their heads. We didn't take his cup." The chief servant began to untie the sacks of grain. There, in Benjamin's sack, was Joseph's silver cup. Fear gripped the brothers' hearts. What if something happened to Benjamin? How could they tell their father? Back they went to Egypt. But a very big surprise waited them. Instead of an angry governor, they found a forgiving brother. "I am Joseph," he said. "Take all the supplies you need and bring my father and your families here to Egypt for the rest of the famine. I will take care of you." King's kids, do you think it was easy for Joseph to forgive his brothers? I think he could only forgive because he was faithful to God. Is there someone you need to forgive? Perhaps a friend or your brother or sister? Why don't you forgive them right now?
Hi King's Kids, my name is Zara. In our story today, Joseph reveals himself to his brothers as a ruler in Egypt. Joseph was willing to forgive his brothers for everything they had done to him. We can ask God to help us learn to forgive others too. Today we are going to make a forgiveness heart. The things you will need are a piece of black cardboard, a split pin, a marker, scissors, contact, and some coloured tissue paper. Start by folding your black piece of cardboard in half. Now draw half a heart. Now you can cut out the heart. Open up both pieces. On the black heart, I'm going to write the words, "Forgiveness makes a difference." Now I'm going to sit that one aside. Take your contact and carefully peel a little bit back. Carefully stick the edge of your heart so it's squared. Carefully peel back the rest of your paper on your contact. Push your black down as you go. Now you can fill the center of your heart with the tissue paper. Make sure there's no clear left. It is fine if the tissue paper overlaps. And one more little bit. Now we can turn it over. Now we're going to use a split pin to make a cover with our black heart. Carefully poke it through the side of your black heart and then your coloured heart. And open it up at the back. Forgiveness makes a difference. It changes others' hearts and it changes our own hearts. Have fun making your own. Bye, King's Kids. Today's Bible verse comes from Luke 6 verse 37. Forgive and you will be forgiven.
G'day there, King's Kids, and welcome along to Balloon Kaboom. And again, I've got my friend here with me, Pastor Darren. G'day there, Pastor Darren.
Hi Arnie, hi boys and girls, so good to be back again.
What are we going to make today with the balloons?
Well today I have a dark green balloon.
Mm-hmm.
Not inflate it.
Yep.
See if you can guess what I'm making.
A dark green balloon.
I'm going to take the yellow
Yep.
and I'm going to put it in the top.
Right in the top of the dark green one.
It's a bit like antenna.
Okay.
Poke it in the middle,
And poke it in the middle.
pinch it
Pinch it.
and pinch it again.
Again.
And then a bubble,
Mm-hmm. A bubble.
pinch it again.
Yep.
And another bubble, pinch it again.
You know what it might be, boys and girls? I've got no clue at the moment.
No clue? Okay, and there it is.
Right, is that finished, Pastor Darren?
No, I'm now going to give it some yellow bubbles all over it.
Yellow bubbles all over it. Okay, is this an animal?
Not an animal.
Okay, not an animal.
Animals might like this though.
Okay.
And humans.
Oh, and humans. What do you think it might be, King's Kids?
I'm putting little bubbles all the way down.
Starting to maybe look like a flower.
Ah, you're onto it, Arnie. It's not an animal,
It's not an animal.
it's a plant.
Oh, it's a plant.
I'm making the head of this plant.
Right.
Would you like to hold the head with the kernels for me, Arnie?
Yeah, I can do that.
I'm going
Kernels.
to now inflate the stem. Tie it off,
Yep, tie it off.
pinch it.
Yeah, pinch it.
Now I can join the head on.
Right, the
Thank
head
you, Arnie.
on the stem. Yep.
And finally, some leaves.
I've got some leaves, okay.
And there it is.
Ah, right, is it ready to harvest?
I think it might be, Arnie.
Yep. Oh, fantastic. Oh, I think it's not a flower, but you can make flour out of it.
Ah, yes, you've got it, Arnie. You got it, boys and girls. You can make flour, which you turn into muffins and cakes and bread.
Yep.
What else do you make out of it?
Oh, anything that's made out of wheat.
That's it. You've got it, Arnie. It's a head of wheat.
Yep.
It reminds me of the story in the Bible. You remember the story of Joseph?
Yep. Oh, I remember him.
Remember that he had all these bad things happen to him, but he ends up interpreting the king's dream, so he prepares for the famine.
Yeah, he becomes the PM, doesn't he?
He does. He builds big barns and stores lots of wheat and grain and corn and food for the 7 years of famine. Well, the famine gets really bad, and guess who comes knocking for food?
Nah, his brothers that got rid of him.
That's right, his brothers who've been really nasty to him came desperate for food. They didn't recognise him,
No, because he'd all grown up and everything.
and he was dressed like an Egyptian.
Yeah, and dressed like an Egyptian.
But Joseph recognised them. Did he give them food?
Yep.
He gave them food, and he forgave them.
Yep.
So when I see grains
Yep.
and heads of wheat in a field, I think of how God cared for Joseph. God cared for the brothers even when they were bad.
Yep.
And he cares for us too.
Excellent. Oh, wow, look at this. Yep.
Take the wheat home.
Yep, take the wheat home. Yeah, that's a cool thing of wheat, Pastor Darren. Anyway, King's Kids, it's time to go now. So from Balloon Kaboom, we'll catch you next time. I'll see you, Pastor Darren.
Bye, Arnie. Bye, boys and girls.
Yep, I'll go and harvest it.
Make some flour.
Yeah, make some flour and then might make pancakes.
Pancakes sounds
Yeah.
good to me.
Yep.
G'day there, King's Kids, and welcome along to another Zoom Bible Discovery. Hey, welcome back. And, oh yeah, there's Andy. G'day, Andy.
Yeah, hi Shane.
Yeah, welcome back. And, we've got Josiah here today. G'day, Josiah. Muted. Woohoo. Hello.
Hi.
Oh, there you go. How are you, Josiah?
Good.
Excellent. Well, welcome along today. Hey, Andy, where's the Bible text from today?
Hey Shane, do you think we should start with prayer first?
Yep, I think we should do that. Okay, let's say a prayer. Dear God, please guide us. Thank you. So where's that text from, Andy?
Oh, well Shane, today's text is from Luke chapter 6, verse 37.
Cool. Hey, I'm going to read it first from my grandma's Bible. Judge not, and ye shall not be judged. Condemn not, and ye shall not be condemned. Forgive, and ye shall be forgiven. Whew. Hey, Andy, would you like to read yours now?
Yeah, I can do that. My version reads, do not judge, and you will not be judged. Do not condemn, and you will not be condemned. Forgive, and you will be forgiven.
Oh, cool. Hey, Josiah, can you read your version now?
Sure. If you do not judge others, then you will not be judged. If you do not find others guilty, then you will not be found guilty. Forgive, and you will be forgiven.
Oh, I like this verse. Hey, Andy, have you ever been judged or judged someone else?
Oh, yeah, unfortunately I've done both. I was at a party once and I chose a shirt and I could hear everybody talking about my shirt and it felt terrible. I had a really, really bad day.
And have you judged someone?
Yeah, I must admit that I have, but I apologise to them later on.
So it's better not to judge?
Yeah, because it makes everybody feel terrible.
Yeah, I think you're right. Exactly right. Hey, Josiah, what do you think the best part of this text is?
I think if you forgive, that you will be forgiven.
So, Josiah, have you ever had to forgive someone before?
Yes, I have.
So how did you go about doing that?
Well, I've actually forgotten.
Oh, that's cool. So you're forgiven and forgotten. Oh, I think that's what the Bible tells us to do sometimes. Well, that's a pretty cool text, isn't it? Hey, can you read it again, Josiah?
Sure. If you do not judge others, then you will not be judged. If you do not find others guilty, then you will not be found guilty. Forgive, and you will be forgiven.
Oh, cool. I love this text. Hey, Andy, would you like to say a prayer before we go?
Yeah, I'll do that, Shane. And dear God, thank you for your word and help us to remember not to judge other people. Amen.
Amen. Hey, thanks, King's Kids, for joining us again today, and we'll see you next time. See you, Andy. See you, Josiah.
Bye.
Jesus has told us to turn the other cheek. If your enemy is hungry, give him something to eat. The Bible has instructed us how we should live. It takes a strong warrior to learn to forgive. Jesus has told us to turn the other cheek. If your enemy is hungry, give him something to eat. The Bible has instructed us how we should live. It takes a strong warrior to learn to forgive. Learn to forgive each other. Forgive your enemies and love one another. Jesus has told us to leave vengeance to him. So trust him to work it out and learn to forgive. Learn to forgive each other. Forgive your enemies and love one another. Jesus has told us to leave vengeance to him. So trust him to work it out and learn to forgive. When someone has hurt you and you want to fight back, you're feeling really angry and you're feeling really mad. The Bible has instructed us how we should live. It takes a strong warrior to learn to forgive. Learn to forgive each other. Forgive your enemies and love one another. Jesus has told us to leave vengeance to him. So trust him to work it out and learn to forgive. Learn to forgive each other. Forgive your enemies and love one another. Jesus has told us to leave vengeance to him. So trust him to work it out and learn to forgive. Jesus has told us to leave vengeance to him. So trust him to work it out. Trust him to work it out. Trust him to work it out. And learn to forgive. Learn to forgive each other.
Forgive each other. Forgive your enemies and love one another. Joseph, with God's love in his heart, was able to forgive his brothers, even though they had done terrible things to him. God can help you to forgive too, King's Kids. Why don't you ask him to help you do this today? Anyway, it's time to go now. I will look forward to catching up with all of you again next time. So take care, stay safe, and God bless.
Yes, I'm a king's kid. My father is